Hi, so welcome Meka to G Butterflies Interviews for Mother's Day 2022. Would you like to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a mother of three. I was a former pro athlete, competed for the U.S. for about 12 years as a Nike athlete, and decided to start my family. That was the missing link in my life, having children and starting a family.
All righty, well, can you tell me where you're from?
I'm originally from Cleveland Heights, Ohio,
Cleveland Heights. Wow, so what brought you to Houston, Texas?
running. So when I graduated from the University of Nebraska, I became a Nike athlete, and this was one of the states that I chose to live and train because of the weather. Needed the year-round summer weather.
Okay, because in Cleveland it's
It's cold,
cold,
yes,
snowy.
yes.
Okay, I can understand wanting to come to Houston, but down here, it's hot,
It's
hot,
hot,
hot. So
yeah.
weather is totally different from snow to the balling hot sun here in Houston, Texas. So I do get it. All right, well, the next question I have for you is how many children you have, but you've already told me that you have three children. So what are the boys, girls? What do you have?
So I have two girls and a boy.
Two girls and a boy. Okay, and would you like to tell us what their ages are?
Yes, Victoria will actually be 22 on the 16th of this month, May. Angeline is 18. She's getting ready to graduate from high school, Manville High School. And then there's Joshua. That's my 12-year-old.
Okay, so graduating from high school, that ought to be a
Yes.
fun time right about now. I know
Busy.
everybody's going to the prom. Everybody's
Yes.
taking their pictures. Everybody's just excited about this
Yes.
last part of
Ending that
school
journey.
before they actually start going off to college. So that should be awesome. I can remember
Yes.
those times I had two boys, so I do
Yeah.
understand. How old were you when you had your first child?
23. Yeah, I got married right out of college. I competed 1 year, and then I started my family, and then went back to pro track.
Okay, being at the age of 23, do you feel like that age had an impact on how you parented your child?
Yeah, it was all I knew was college and training and track. So the transition was easier than I thought. The thing that became confusing is I wanted to stay a pro athlete. After becoming a mommy, that was like the highlight of my life. So I had to really decide, do I want to just be mommy, which is not a gist, or did I want to continue my pro track? Because one of the things that I did as a pro athlete, I turned down a lot of contracts to go overseas for long periods of time. I just couldn't leave my child for that long. So they used to say I was one of the top athletes, but underpaid because
Okay.
I didn't travel quite a bit.
Okay, how would you
Yeah.
say becoming a parent changed you? Because I know sometimes when we become parents, we change in some way or another. There is a change that happens within us as a mother. So, how would you say becoming a parent changed you?
More cautious, even to the point when I had my first child, I wanted to get my tattoos removed. It was like I wanted to just be super, super innocent, being a mom. But one of the things is certain things that were super important, they weren't that important. It wasn't that important for me to be a pro athlete. It was about mothering. It wasn't that important if Nike didn't pick me back up and give me my contract because I had my baby. So it was things that May was put on a more high important list became not that important. It became just about being a mom.
So, what would you say was the hardest part about being a mom?
Oh, leaving the separation was hard for me. I'm the only child. I have a sister that came much, much later. So it was this fear of just separating. That was very hard. Fear that something's going to happen to your child. Being that I'm an educator, I went to school for education and human resource. You see different things and you always kind of put your child, I hope that doesn't happen to
Right.
my child. So it's that fear of something just negative ever happening to your child. Um, that's probably the hardest thing, the separation. And, you just want to protect them. You don't want them to leave. And
Right. Was it hard to balance like school and transportation issues, school activities, any other outside influences? Was it hard to kind of balance those things as well?
Yeah, well, when I moved here, I didn't have family here, being from Ohio. So we had joined a church when we first got here, and I had to get comfortable with trusting anybody to watch my
Oh, I
children.
can understand
Yeah,
that.
I didn't grow up being able to really do sleepovers, so I guess I transitioned that into my children as well. So as a pro athlete, trying to split the time to find anyone to watch my kids during those hours, that was hard. And we connected with a very sweet lady from the church that became like a grandmother. And I was doing more of the crying. The kids were fine. It's just, trust issues.
Okay. Well, how important was it for you to have your family support during your journey as a parent? And I know you said you're from a different state, Ohio, and you were only child, so your mother was many, many miles away. But how important was it to have her support, even though she was in a different state?
Oh, very. I'm so close with my mom. We talk every day. And, she just says a word. Even when I'm down, she makes sure that she stays up to give me those words. It's like a mom knows. I can try to fake the funk like nothing is wrong, but she'll pick up on that. And it's like, she gets the right word to just tell me what I needed to hear at that time. And my grandmother, who has passed, she's a strong, strong influence in my life.
Okay, and just to piggyback on what you just said, my next question was, how was the relationship with your mom? But you just answered that a minute ago, said that you had a really good, strong relationship
Yes.
with your mother. So how was the relationship with your dad?
My dad passed. It was more distance, a little bit closer when I was younger. He was in Vietnam, and I believe that he suffered from PTSD. They just didn't diagnose then. So later in life, as he got older, that started to show up where he was more absent.
Okay.
But the times that I did have with him when I was younger, those were good times. When he passed, I learned things that I didn't know. That he had all of my pictures at his job.
Okay.
A lot of the employees at his job talked about him talking about his daughter Meka all the time. So it became kind of emotional that he loved me more than I guess I thought he did. Yes.
And maybe he just didn't know how to
show it. I believe
but he probably
so.
had a level of pride, like you said, that you didn't even realize that he had for you.
Right.
And by
right.
chance, did you have a step parent?
I did.
And how was your relationship with him?
Good. And me and my stepsister are very, very close, which she hadn't visited in years because we're from different places, but we're getting closer as we get older. But
and sometimes that happens. Sometimes it happens. Our life journey takes us in different directions, but we find our way back to our family members later in life. So that I can definitely understand. What was the greatest parenting advice that you received from your mom?
Take care of myself. It's okay to say no. It's okay, because I used to cry when the kids cry. It was hard for me to really spank, and my kids are pretty good where I didn't have to do a whole lot of directing. I grew up where just the tone would make you get it together. But I've always been an energized bunny, and fatiguing myself out, you can't be 100% for your kids. So my mom would always say, take care of yourself, get that time. So when you see those babies, you ready to go.
Right, because we don't take care of ourselves. There's no way that we can take care of anybody else. And so often as moms, we always tend to put everything and everybody else first. And we are just depleted and we don't have anything else left. So I can see where that would be some great advice. I know you said your dad really wasn't as involved as you probably would have liked him to be, but you said your grandmother was. So what was the best advice your grandmother gave you as far as parenting?
Of course, I come from a strong Christian family, so it was always scriptures. My grandmother faithfully, and my mom sent scriptures. My papa, which we called him Nana and Papa up north, is not so much grandmother as either a big mama, a sweet mama, and that was Nana and Papa. He was kind of my father figure because they never missed a track meet, they never missed a graduation. They end up investing in a van that had like a bed in it, almost like a trailer, to travel to all my meets through college.
That's awesome. So, that's great support.
Yeah. So I even highlighted them at my recent wedding. So it was always, keep God first. It's always going to work out. And the saying that God never gives you more than you can handle. So.
And during your parental journey, what would you say was the hardest part of your parental journey? And how did you cope with it?
Being that I came from a strong Christian background, I think that balance sometimes, I didn't really get to do sleepovers. Not that I felt like it was overly disciplined, but they were hard about grades. Sometimes I felt like it was study, study, study. So it was like when I go to college, I want to make sure I don't, step out of rims because there was that strict upbringing, and I felt the need to always prove that I got good grades. And I may have put more pressure, not so much from them, but there's a lot of doctors on my dad's side and my mom having her master's. So I just felt like it was pressure to do good, like C's weren't accepted.
Okay, so if you're thinking retrospectively, what is the one thing you would do differently as a parent?
The one thing, maybe not be so uptight. I think I'm doing better with that now. The times we're living in, I'm old school, but you can't just have so much old school in the new time, or I think you lose that base. You lose your kids.
Right. So when you say uptight, would you like to just explain a little bit what you mean? As you don't have to go into great detail
Yeah.
about any one specific situation, but just a quick generalized statement about what you mean when you say not be so uptight.
Just like nervous, like even going to prom.
Okay.
I'm that mom that's gonna call back to back to back, and sometimes I let thoughts get in my head. If there's an accident on the news, I have to call my door, and she's like, "Mom, you just called," So just relaxing more and knowing we're covered. That's more. I just think I can be maybe overprotected sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're all human as parents. Do you have any regret regarding your parenting?
No. I absolutely love. I used to tell my Nike coach that I'm not sure if I want to continue as a pro athlete, but the one thing I'm sure about in life is being a mom. It's been the best journey of my life. I absolutely adore it.
Okay, so what is you have children that are adults? You said 22 all the way down to Josh. You say he's 11 or 12?
12. He turned 12.
Okay. With that being said, what is the best advice you can give someone that have little small children?
Just hear them. I teach first grade and I love their minds. I think kids can do more than what we allow them to. Even a 3-year-old making up the bed. Let it be messy. That's how they learn. Not being so much of a perfectionist. I learned when a kid learns to eat, they may be sloppy. Stop trying to clean it up. Embrace their mind and where they are and meet them where they are. We have to embrace the new and not bring too much of the old. Old school. We can be sometimes too old school to where we lose the base, like I was saying before.
Okay, what would you say is the best advice you can give a parent that has teenagers? Because I know that can be a turbulent time in parent and children life. So what would be the best advice you can give someone that has teenage children?
Just don't provoke them. I think to tell a parent, give them the space. That's like unheard of back in the day. Give a child their space. But it's important because their voice is very important. A lot of times they have valid complaints and we can be overprotected at times, or we can be wrong sometimes. We're not perfect parents. And I expressed that to my daughter. Look, I may have got this wrong. I'm not perfect. Ask for forgiveness sometimes, even from your kids. It's okay to say sorry. It's okay to be wrong because it teaches them that they don't always have to cover anything up, and it is okay for them to be wrong, and then they're more willing to come to you. So I just think to embrace your kids where they are, really let them be heard, and don't provoke them. Don't just keep jamming something in. A lot of times kids feel bad when they let parents down. We don't need to keep letting them know you let us down.
And it's okay for us as parents sometimes to let them know we were wrong.
Right.
We did
exactly.
something wrong.
Right.
Because they need to see the humanity in us as well.
I agree.
So I think that's very important. What is the best advice? Because now you do have an adult child, even though she's a young adult, she's still an adult. What's the best advice you can give someone that has an adult child?
One, you have to let them fail sometimes. We still want to cradle at times, because one of the things with my oldest is teaching her how to budget. She's asking for gas money as we speak.
A lot of us as grown-ups at our age range may still need a budget sometimes.
Right.
So I get
it. Teaching her how to budget and being okay with saying no, because I love those kids. But if you don't kind of back away, sometimes they'll never learn. So, like I said, my advice is really to pave the way, back up, let them fail, let them see where they could have did wrong to make better choices. Don't always cover up or clean up. Just let it be and work with them as they fail to get back on the path they need to be on.
Right, because they still need to know, even though that they're failing or they have failed or did something we didn't like, that we do still love them.
Right, absolutely.
And we do still support them. But
right.
We just have to make sure that we add a level of correction in there.
Right.
Even though they're adults, because they still need it. So that I do agree with. What's the best part about being a mother, in your opinion?
I just, sometimes when you see you and your kids, the good, you always pray that they're better than you, but to see them from a child grow up, become who they are, like even seeing Angeline, she wore makeup and she don't really wear it that much, and just seeing her become this young woman, it can be emotional, it can be exciting, it's just a bunch of emotions going on. I think just taking that journey with them and seeing how it's going to all turn out.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said in the interview yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, that the journey really never ends until
never
the mother
ends.
dies.
Right.
That's when the journey
Right.
ends.
Right.
Because even though they're adult children, we just parent them differently.
Right. Exactly.
So, well, I thank you very much, Meka, for participating in my interviews for 2022 Mother's Day. And I thank you for watching. Stay tuned. We're going to have some more interviews.